blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies. Many times, one is mistaken for the other. But for China, the distinction has always been crystal clear. As the Chinese state-backed blockchain-based service network, or BSN, takes off.
We have like 20 million wallets right now on DDC network, and the daily transaction every single day is beyond 1 million transactions.
What sets non-crypto blockchains apart from the rest? And could BSN Spartan Network be China's blockchain connect to the world? Coming up on Word on the Block, YiFan He, founder and CEO of Red Date Technology, dives deep into those topics and a whole lot more. "2019, the year blockchain technology got the green light from China's top boss, Xi Jinping, that set into motion a juggernaut with far-reaching impact. It was no longer just about the Chinese crypto exchanges or crypto miners. It kick-started conversations about a Chinese central bank-backed digital currency, powering Chinese cities into the metaverse, and so much more. Well, none of this would be possible without the digital architecture this ecosystem needs, and we're going to talk to someone who's very closely involved in building just this in China. Welcome to Word on the Block, the series that takes a deeper dive into blockchain and all the emerging technologies that shape our world at the intersection of business, politics, and economy. It's what we cover right here on Forkast.News. I'm Editor-in-Chief Angie Lau. And today we are in conversation with YiFan He. He's founder and CEO of Red Date Technology that's backing BSN, or Blockchain-Based Service Network, in China. YiFan, thanks for joining us. It's great to have you on the show.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you for having me.
Let's start from the very beginning. For the audience not too familiar, what are you and your firm helping build BSN? What is BSN? Let's start with the basics. What is the blockchain services network that you're building out? And what is Red Date Technology, your firm's role in its development?
Okay. BSN basically is a project we started in China with some local partners from the state-owned enterprise and some government agencies. The purpose of BSN basically is because we believe the blockchain technology is so powerful, it should far beyond the only user cases of cryptocurrency. So it should benefit all the IT systems in the world. But back in 2018, everything about blockchain is cryptocurrency. So that's why we want to build a new infrastructure, but actually integrate all kinds of technology, including public chains. But somehow just get rid of cryptocurrency and make that into a pure IT infrastructure. Then all the business in the world, all the families, individuals, high school students can use this infrastructure to easily to build a decentralized application and benefit their own matters. No matter it's a business matter, business process, or just a high school student's project. So that's basically what we're trying to do. So, but this is a massive project because, we want to enable all the cloud services to easily to adopt BSN infrastructure. So we need to integrate all the APIs from major cloud services like AWS, Google, Microsoft, Ali Cloud in China, Huawei Cloud. And also at the same time, just like I said, we don't want to just build one chain, like public chains or fabric, everybody can. We want to integrate as many blockchain technology as possible. That's why we integrate almost all the permission framework in the world. As long as you know a name, we already integrate. Also, we integrate all the major public chains also into the infrastructure. So because what we really think is it doesn't matter what you want. It's just an infrastructure. You can, build wherever you want. But the public chain, we actually put into two categories. One type of public chain we call crypto-based, which is the regular Ethereum, regular Algorand, regular Tezos. So it's still for the crypto industry. So people can easily access nodes of those public chains. The second category we build actually we call non-cryptocurrency public chains. They are still public chain based on the popular framework like Ethereum, like Polygon, like Cosmos. But for those type of public chains, we actually take out the cryptocurrency from layer one. So when people access those public chains, they pay gas with fiat money at a fixed rate. So which means it's still a public chain infrastructure, but people can, spend like 2 cents fixed rate to mint NFTs for their traditional business. So that's basically what we're trying to do is basically if you need permission, you have it. If you need the regular public chains, you have it. And if you need some public chain but without crypto, we also have it. So just a global infrastructure for everybody to use at a low cost.
That's actually fascinating because as we know right now, cryptocurrency is really what incentivizes a lot of these blockchain layer ones, and that's the ecosystem, right? But what you're saying is that you can actually still use the public blockchains by removing the cryptocurrency and then just adding a fiat label to it. Isn't that kind of like a stable coin? Using some sort of a stable coin? Like how does that actually function? And is that what BSN, have you created some sort of payment layer that allows you to be the intermediary between the fiat, the person paying fiat, and then, you delivering the crypto payments to an Ethereum or to a Cosmos or to other layer ones? How does that work?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Okay, it's actually how we built the whole thing. Basically, first, the non-cryptocurrency version of public chain is basically a new chain. It's a 3 new chain. We built 3 new chain based on the existing framework, not just part of the Ethereum. We basically hard fork them into a 3 new chain. But we actually what we only did is take out the cryptocurrency. So the way people use those 3 we call that non-cryptocurrency public chains, they actually use fiat money. Okay, we can accept credit card, and we can also accept USDC anonymously. So we want people to use those technology anonymously. We don't even collect anything. So then people actually use USDC to purchase a new token on our BSN Spartan network. It's called NTT. Why it's NTT? It stands for non-tradable token. So which means when you purchase the NTT with the rates backed with $1 at $1. So one NTT equals $1. But the NTT stays in your wallet. It cannot be transferred. Then because we have 3 public chains right now, I think in 1 year it will go to like 20 public chains on the network. Then you can actually choose to convert the NTT into any, we call that a wallet. Inside the wallet, it's no longer the cryptocurrency. It's called gas credits. So you can actually use the NTT only to convert them into gas credits, because for each chain, the units is different. It could be, 20,000 on the gas credit on this chain, 200 gas credit on another chain. It doesn't matter, but it always is $1. Then you use those gas credits to consume those gas credits to execute transactions, deploy your smart contract, call any smart contract on the chain. It consumes the gas credit. And also the gas credits are not transferable. So then you basically use fiat money to purchase NTT, to purchase gas credit and consume them. Then after consumption, those gas credit actually got destroyed on the fly. So then it basically is a way how the regular people with USDC or credit card, if you don't care, so it will actually use credit card to purchase entities and go through everything.
Because what you're actually doing is fundamentally reducing it back to the utility of the layer one, of the actual blockchain protocol, rather than what we're seeing right now in the space. It's very speculative. There's a lot of back and forth. We're watching price movements go up and down. What you're saying is that there's actually a utility layer here. And we all know China's stance on crypto, right? So it's very in keeping with policy, internal domestic policy, but at the same time recognizing and not ignoring the utility of that blockchain protocol. That's interesting.
Yes, but because BSN, we try to build into a global infrastructure. Actually, the BSN Spartan network with the 3 non-cryptocurrency public chains, they are for outside China because they are still public chains. Public chain without the cryptocurrency still inside China is against the regulation. Because the KYC, there's no KYC, there's no content control, there's, many things. So they actually, if we run the Spartan network inside China, it's still illegal. So that's why we don't allow anyone from China to set up the data centers of the Spartan network. So it's only for global market. So that's why we actually 2 days ago, we launched in Hong Kong. So the Hong Kong is the home base of the Spartan network, and also because it's for outside China, and the target customer is traditional IT industries. It's not the crypto industry. So we work with almost 24 of very famous Hong Kong companies. The first time when we talk to their IT department, they understand what we're trying to do immediately. It's always be hard to talk with my crypto friends. Why you even do this? But for the traditional IT department, they actually immediately understand this. Because the way we position this, first, the BSN Spartan network is basically a decentralized cloud services network. So it's not even about blockchain. Blockchain, we consider them as the operating system within this decentralized cloud. Then it become, a new choice for those traditional IT industry. It's the largest bank in Hong Kong, the largest land developer, the largest hotel chain, in Hong Kong. They actually say, okay, now I can actually put some data not only in my backend system, but in a public environment. So, for example, my customer can have much, much better privacy there. They can control some of their data, not everything in my backend system. My customer couldn't even see. So then for the IT department, there's 2 choices right now. One is backend system, one is a public system. They can choose how they can build their part of their IT infrastructure.
But why wouldn't they choose just, the original layer 1 protocol, Ethereum, pay with crypto, do all of those functionalities? Why wouldn't those firms do just that?
Okay, the first, many firms, for example, the bank, okay, they presented their user case. They actually, of them is building user cases on Spartan right now. So the bank actually is a HSBC. So they basically actually by their internal regulation policy, they cannot touch cryptocurrency. Even they say, okay, we just need a little bit cryptocurrency just as, pay for the gas. They can't. Okay. And also for those large traditional IT companies, they don't want to touch cryptocurrency also, because what they do is like when they use AWS, they just pay the fees. It's fixed. They know what's the cost next year. It's very easy for them IT department to put a budget plan together. I mean, with cryptocurrency, they have no idea how much money they will pay next year. It's for the 99% of the IT system in the world, they just want to pay for what they use. They don't want to get involved into speculative trading, kind of business, holding those assets. It's too risky for them, and they don't care. You say, okay, holding them, you probably make some money. They don't care. That's not their business.
And you've forked a way to allow this to happen. You're still using the basic protocol, but the fork is that you're not using crypto.
Yes, exactly. So when you really understand how the wallet get the gas credit, and then when you connect to the non-cryptocurrency, Ethereum, Polygon, Cosmos, when you connect to those chains, it's exactly the same when you're using those public chains. Call the APIs, how to deploy smart contract, how to call them, and how to execute transactions there. It's exactly the same. So if you go through our user manual, when that reach how to use those chains, it go back to the Ethereum user manual.
Yeah. Well, how does the Ethereum community think about this? I mean, your friends, all your crypto friends are probably looking at you, YiFan, and saying, are you saying that this is the death of crypto?
No, actually, first, what we're trying to do actually is to bring blockchain technology to other industries, not only stay within the crypto industry, because right now, the cryptocurrency is on layer one. That causes the blockchain technology actually very hard for blockchain technology to penetrate traditional IT industries. So right now, when we take out the cryptocurrency, it's very easy for them to accept. So we actually, because personally, I still think cryptocurrency is just one type of application built with blockchain technology. There should be many, many, many applications out there. And also on Spartan network, we are not even against for people to build a layer 2 cryptocurrency on Spartan network. Personally, I don't like cryptocurrency. Okay, everybody knows that. But it's like AWS or those major clouds. They don't like a gambling website, but if it's legally run a gambling website, they're very good customer. They welcome them with open arm. We also welcome crypto industry to build a layer 2 crypto on Spartan network, so they can do whatever. Just imagine if that happens on Spartan network, the crypto application and the traditional application, they actually coexist. So by any chance, they can actually call each other. I mean, could be a very good opportunity even for cryptocurrency industry to actually link to the traditional IT industry. Could be the one of the ways to make a cryptocurrency to massive adoption. Everybody always talk about.
Look, we've talked before, and in the early days of BSN, we had a lengthy discussion, and I remember that one of the things that was critical for you and building out BSN was really, how do you allow enterprise to accelerate using this technology, to find the efficiencies internally and engage that way. It was very much built from an enterprise perspective. And I note that today, in 2022, you reached a significant milestone at the end of July of this year. Transactions on the BSN distributed digital certificate network surpassed the global transaction volume on the Ethereum network. That's a pretty big deal. You've got partners now like Hyperledger, Consensus, Polkadot, Tezos, and BSN is really growing into that global scale that in the early days you were talking about. Where are you in the life cycle of the BSN ecosystem? We're starting to see traction. Are we going to continue to see you expand partnerships with other protocols and chains?
Yeah, of course. It's first, you just mentioned the BSN Dash DDC network. It's actually the equivalent of the BSN Spartan inside China. So we don't actually promote the BSN DDC outside China because there's no public chain on that. There's a 6 we call open permission chain. So we actually convert the public chain into a also forks of the public chain inside China, but it's fully in compliance with Chinese regulations. There's KYC, there's, if someone do something bad, the wallet can be disabled. Okay. So we have to do that in order to run that business. So only in China, so we have like 1,300 business platforms connecting to the DDC network, and there's 20 million NFT minted. Okay, we have like 20 million wallets right now on DDC network, and the daily transaction every single day is beyond 1 million transactions. So that's why it actually gave us a lot of confidence, for the BSN Spartan network outside China, because everybody inside China is not related to the cryptocurrency industry, all traditional businesses. 60% of them is NFT related, 40% just using the DDC network as a decentralized database, technology. That's, but we are going to expand DDC network and the Spartan network, all the time, because we plan to have, there are 6 open permission blockchain on DDC. 7 new chains is under development right now. Okay, including Casper, Everscale, and for Spartan network, we will also increase from 3 chains to, probably 20 by end of next year. So because we really, really want to integrate all the major public chain framework on Spartan network. So for developers, they have a lot of choices. And also between all those chains, they actually competing with each other. Because on Spartan network, each chain has their own operators. Not only we operate everything, we actually have a bunch of partners working with us on those chains. So they actually can set different price for the NTT convert to the gas credit. So which means with this type of competition, the price will continue to drop. Right now, the benchmark is like you're minting a standard ERC 721, it costs you 3 cents US dollar, fixed. But we expect by end of next year, it dropped to the 1 cent.
Wow.
Okay, eventually it's less than in 1 cent to do a 721 transaction. So it become, then the NFT technology and the public chain technology become available to everybody. I mean, a high school student can run an NFT in, business with like $10 spending each month.
Yeah, it's affordable, but it's the technology that allows for it. But what is so notable here is that within China, you're doing more transaction volumes than the rest of the world combined on the Ethereum network. That is pretty incredible. And it shows the acceleration and the adoption of the 1,300 firms that are currently under this network right now. That's 1,300. This is a country of 1.4 billion. The 1,300 firms that you're working with, that's just really, pebbles in the ocean of opportunity here. And already with the 1,300, that's incredible to me. I mean, it shows really the possibility of blockchain technology. And what does this actually mean on a global stage when these firms are competing with other enterprise firms around the world at efficiency levels that would definitely be higher than if you weren't working on a blockchain network? And it not necessarily yours, but, working with blockchain.
Yes, actually, that's actually how we say this. China really could be a leading force in the, enterprise blockchain industry, because, most of the firms outside China still focus on, DeFi, GameFi, cryptocurrency related scenarios, which actually is a simple scenario. I mean, the 1 million transaction on the DDC network are actually more complicated than the 1 million transaction on Ethereum, because on Ethereum, almost all the transaction is the transfers, the between wallets. We, as a technical person, I consider that kind of execution of data operation is very simple, as simple as possible, but there are a lot of transactions on the DDC network. It becomes so complicated. We see the smart contract with like 100 methods. It's very complicated. It actually causes a lot of trouble on the DDC network. It breaks down the chain sometimes. We need working with the chain operator, 24 hours, teams together to fix them. That's why the Cosmos framework on DDC network becomes so improved, because they never see that kind of volume with that kind of complicated transaction. So we actually helping those frameworks to improve even more than public chains. Because, the operator actually from the Cosmos community, the CEO is sitting on the Cosmos board directors, she basically say, okay, we never see this kind of traffic and this complicated transactions. Then they actually spend like 2 months to fix that. Then it make the entire Cosmos, framework become much, much powerful. So that's actually, we see this kind of thing happens in China because there's no crypto.
You're actually stress testing a lot of these protocols in real life on an enterprise level, even before they're technically ready.
Yes.
YiFan, there's so much to unpack here, but folks, you're just going to have to wait just a tiny bit longer. This conversation with Red Date Technology founder and CEO YiFan He, that is building out BSN, went just a little bit longer than our usual 30 minutes. In fact, it stretched on for close to an hour. So we've decided to turn this into a special part 1. This was just part 1. You gotta wait for part 2, because what we talk about is how do non-crypto blockchains work? What's the future for non-crypto blockchains? And why it's important to boost the use of non-crypto public chains from his perspective. What is actually happening in China, and so much more. You're going to have to wait for part 2 of this conversation of Word on the Block with YiFan He. So for now, we thank you for your patience, but I promise you it's going to be worth the wait. I'm Angie Lau, Editor-in-Chief of Forkast. Until the next time.